Welcome, everybody, to the first day of the Series 3 for the Spawn Point Championship Series. My name is HPBowser64, and I'm joined here by Nyah on the cast here tonight as we're about to begin the first week of the first day of the Spawn Point Championship Series number 3, starting off with the Rookie Division here, Nyah.
Yeah, it's going to be so exciting in between these two teams. We have familiar faces on both and a little bit of new familiar faces, but they have played in different scenes of competitiveness through the divisions here of any series through SPCS or even BPL. So it's going to be very interesting in between these two.
Yeah, definitely. Eternal Beat Drop Bears and Nemesis are going to be the first teams here featured on the rookie broadcast. And again, you mentioned there are a lot of recurring faces, but also new faces on both of these rosters. Some players hoping to make a name for themselves, while others are still wanting to show that they can make it big here at the end of the day. Starting off here with the Eternal Beat Drop Bears. Most of its roster comprised of the Space Pirates org, most notably Pew Pew Plunderers, the Series 1 champions, with Ant, Magic Otter, Pasty, Layla, and Keegsmon Swag making up the main roster.
Yeah, something to talk about Eternal B-Drop Bears is that the key players of this roster are going to be Ant, Keegs, and Magic Otter. They do have that team synergy in between them, and that's going to be something exciting to look forward to. But taking a look at the next roster, which will be Nemesis here right around the corner. There it is. Nemesis is coming up in with another three key players, Aiden Games, Warlord, and I believe we said that it was Lullaby.
Yes.
Yeah, Lullaby. So those three players have played before. They have played in many different seasons with each other, but they still have that team synergy. But with the two on both of the two teams that kind of have that team synergy with them, it's going to be a little challenging for those two players.
Yeah, definitely. It's also going to be interesting to see how this team is able to work with 5 Torbjorn players on the roster. I don't know about you, Nyah, but that doesn't seem like a very optimal composition unless you're playing Stadium at this rate, where you can pick duplicate heroes. Either way, it'll be interesting to see how these two teams are going to face off here, because, again, this is their first showing, the first time that they're facing off against each other in the season. No preseason before this, so they are making their first presence known here. Starting off with our first map of the series, heading over to Lijiang Tower, our sole control map. After that, it's going to be a loser picks mode and map, so for the rest of the series, the loser will be able to pick the next map in our series.
Lijiang Tower, this is going to be a great one to watch here for our first map in this map set. First to 3, so it could go all 5 maps. I've said that multiple times before, I kind of cast first myself, but hey, I'm not going to do it today. It's the first day of the brand series here in Spawn Point Championships, and Lijiang Tower, I mean, it's right around the corner. We're about to see some interesting compositions in between these two teams, and maybe the newer players merge some team synergy with the current team synergy that is going on with the team.
Yeah, definitely, and I get that sort of like composition that you mentioned here for this map is definitely going to be interesting, considering we just recently got a brand new patch that completely changed the entire scope of the game. Of course, Season 18 came out, it introduced Wu Yang as the newest support hero, as well as changed up perks for every single hero, getting rid of some perks that many people seem to prefer, like Junker Queen's Wound Extension perk, or Sombra's White Hat perk, where she could heal teammates. So it'll be interesting to see what these teams are going to think about here with these compositions, because this new patch changes almost the entire dynamic of the game.
Yeah, as you said, it's very now complex and a little more strategized in between those perks and hero picks that you do choose with these compositions that two of these teams are going to definitely decide about here in this series. But if we're thinking about these two teams here, it's your first match. It's the opener of the whole entire series here up on the Twitch channel. Do we think these two teams are going to be coming up into this game, having a mental set for themselves and saying, hey, this is the first game. We got to win this.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to want to have that momentum going into this. You want to try to make yourself, you want to try to show that you are going to be the top of the league at the first week, because these are the only two teams being broadcasted in this division right now on the main Twitch channel. So you think they definitely would want to be able to show that they are worthy of the top title. whatever that means for the rest of the season doesn't matter, but still, you are feared if you were able to show up a good performance here on the main Twitch channel. But there is one thing before we get into the map that we need to cover, and that is the hero bans. Of course, we are introducing hero bans here for Spawn Point Championship Series number 3, so that means each team will be able to ban one hero for the map. They can't ban the two heroes in the same role. So right now, as you see, Eternal Beat Drop Bears have started off by banning Orisa. That means Nemesis cannot ban a tank here for this map here, Nyah. So we'll see what these two teams are going to come up with. We'll see what Nemesis are going to try to come up here with this ban. Obviously, you want to try to play into the strategy of your enemy team, or try to favor your team by banning a hero that banning a hero that would protect your heroes that you would want to play.
Yeah, and this is pretty interesting looking at that Orisa ban coming in from Eternal Beat Drop Bears. Is this a pick that is smart enough for the Eternal? Oh, but wait, hold on. I see Kiriko banned. So this is good. Yeah, this is nice. Okay, a little bit of spiciness up in this first map set here. But yeah, taking out the Kiriko and the Orisa, you might be forcing a interesting speed type composition here to go quick around those corners and to neutralize your other.
Yeah, definitely. The Kiriko ban is definitely an interesting ban. It could also negate the ability to have to counter a Junker Queen. Of course, Kiriko is one of the best Junker Queen counters because she can cleanse those wounds. She can cleanse those anti-nades from the Rampage. So there's a chance that Nemesis might want to lean onto the side of a Junker Queen composition. But also, it prevents the team from being able to run a steady support that can move around the map. That's not a Lucio. Or not a Lucio or a Juno. So it puts some restrictions on your composition. The Orisa ban, on the other hand, prevents you from being able to play that sort of brawl style with the horse. Orisa has had a lot of perk changes. One of the big ones is that now Fortify can make it so you have no movement restriction, and you also generate no heat whenever you're using Fortify, which is a massive buff, I think, to Orisa, because that is such a massive perk. And one of the big things about Orisa is that heat generation can ruin your ability with the weapon. So we'll see how this is going to play into each of these heroes here as we load into our first map of the series, Lijiang Tower, to begin. We'll have to see what these two teams are going to think about here in the spawn rooms once they spawn in.
Let's see what happens here in between these two teams, Eternal and Nemesis, to kick it off here in Spawn
I've done things
3. And looking at the team compositions here, we got Hog up on the one side and JQ up on the other. Now, will these be the certain picks that they will be rolling out on? It's most likely necessary that they'll switch, and yes, they will.
Yeah, we already see Eternal Beat Drop Bears. They went for the Troll pick, going for the Roadhog. Now they're going to be going over to this Ramatra. But as I mentioned again, Nyah, that Junker Queen pick for the side of Nemesis, they banned this Kiriko for a reason. That's exactly why they wanted Kiriko out of the picture. As we start off here, the Rookie Division for SPCS Series 3. Eternal Beat Drop Bears already taking some sort of advantage here, trying to take this White Room away from Nemesis and keep them away from pushing in.
Let's see what Nemesis could do here. Maybe they could rush him with this spear from Galinci. And it takes the B a little bit of speed.
Already a good start here, however, from Eternal Beat Drop Bears. They find that kill on the Starseeker, who wasn't able to catch in with the rest of the team. Warlord trying to get some value here on this Junker team, but there's so much damage being pumped in, and it's just Pasty and Magic Otter to clean up the deal. Magic Otter finding 2 on both supports for Nemesis. Half the point for Eternal Beat Drop Bears.
Nice, yeah, so if you are Nemesis here, this is now a resetting. And I will say, if you're Galinci, you could definitely speed around the GP, more around the house courts. But Bears, you're setting up Magic Otter here almost with the casting high noon. That could be a little dangerous, especially with the Lucio speed.
Right now, Nemesis is trying to set up anything, but adding games gets picked off early here on that Soldier. Nemesis now needs to try and retreat, get the heck out of there, but it's going to be hard when your speed boost with Lindsay is gone. Stacy's just trying to move forward, use that block, which now has a 1-second cooldown, so you have to be careful about that with the Ramatra. Nonetheless, though, the damage has been done. Nemesis still back in the spawn doors as Eternal Beat Drop Bears to keep the hold.
Nemesis will be coming up on that Coalescence. Same with the Beat Matrix here. Both support ultimates are going to be looking good for the Nemesis side, but it's Eternal. They're probably...
And here comes that window coming out from Keekmonk's swag. Meanwhile, the beat is initiated from Quincy. Warlord is the only person not caught by that, though, as they're all the way in the enemy spawn door. Quincy does get the kill into Magic Otter, but Warlord is now out of the picture. Annihilation now comes up from Casey, trying to force out the members of Nemesis. Is able to move back Lullaby with that Nemesis form. Coalescence was also invested in this fight, so really seems to be a back and forth, but now once again, Quincy out of the picture and getting that final blow, meaning Nemesis are going to have to try and reset, wait for their Lucio to come back.
So here we go. Eternal is in a great spot here. They still have that high noon ready to go. Blade in hand. All it takes is that speed in to he will go first. Magic Otter, though, getting to pick up
Yes, good start for Magic Otter. Now it's going to be Ant trying to make some magic happen here with the Dragon Blade. Is able to slice down Lullaby. Meanwhile, the Rampage comes out from Warlord after their Moira is already dead, but it's still going back and forth. Padding game uses the overclock, able to get the kill onto Pacey here, and Ant dropping extremely low, hit with the railgun shot after the ultimate is finished. Adding game trying to make their presence known here on this soldier, but it's going to get burned down by Keegsman's flag. The point will flip over for the side of Nemesis. However, 98% to the Eternal Beach Drop Bears, and they're currently trying to find the kills, but it looks like at the end, Nemesis will retain the hole.
Keegs as that Batman was still fighting. Wonderful stuff and wonderful work here from Keegs. Now they'll be able to reset here with the side of Eternal. Magic Otter coming back here with the Cassidy ultimate. And you're also going to have a window to set up with too. Maybe they could do something with the immortality. Oh, good Cassidy.
Comes that Deadeye from Magic Otter right down the main, trying to force everybody out. Does force out the recall from Starseeker after they whip the Pulp Bomb into the backline, but now overtime does begin. Bluehin has already found the first kill on the Starseeker, so Nemesis down one of their DPS picks. Pacey's just looking to try and finish out the deal. Use that Vortex field in the middle of the point, and now Lullaby is also out of the picture. Bluehin finding two on this Lucio, going full on Reddit Lucio play. Make it three for Bluehin. Is Magic Otter going to be taking away the ace alongside Ants as the Beat Drop Bears flip the point back and take it for their own 100-30 here on Liege on control point.
Blue is absolutely menacing with the Lucio gameplay at the moment on the side of Eternal. But take a look at how Nemesis kind of almost came back up into that fight. They wanted to bring some aggression forwarding into Eternal. Now, with this secondary set objective, I do feel like they will be able to get back into this fight. All they got to do is take these corners a little quicker. If you're playing this JQ composition, you're looking to rush into the backline. You want to eliminate the main support as quickly as possible, but something that's going to be a little dangerous is, if you have Magic Otter playing that Symmetra, you're going to have some turrets and TPs to worry about.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to see if this Junker Queen is able to counter this Symmetra gameplay. It's going to be Casey moving over here to the Winston. Eternal beats out there to use that Symmetra to get into the backline. But now again, they did switch up their DPS line. Gone is the Cassidy. Now is the Freya, as well as a Tracer coming out here from Magic Otter. So Nemesis now have to be worried about these sort of pressures. But you already see Warlord going for that super high aggression onto Ant on that Freya. And all the damage is starting to get done. But Magic Otter answers back. 2 kills here from this Tracer of Magic Otter. Now trying to finish the deal. But you already see the fight going back and forth. Right now, Ant is dead. Warlord is all alone on the point here with adding games in tow, but it's Magic Otter still just cleaning it up. 4 kills for Magic Otter since the beginning of this point.
Magic Otter making it look magical as the Tracer phenomenon here for Eternal. And looking at Ant, right, you're going to have this ultimate here almost charged up, 70%. Only 30 more percent until that is 100. But Nemesis still has a long way to go.
If Nemesis is able to make that distance worth it though. Make their way over to the white room here. They just don't want to get boosted off here by Bluehin to start off their engage. They already see so much damage coming into them. Again, it's all going to be about that Junker Queen getting over to the backline. Obviously, Junker Queen excels if they're able to just run over your enemy backline. Right now, you see that Junker Queen of Warlord focusing in on the Winston. Starseeker getting booped across the edge. Warlord, however, cannot stay the same. They're booped into the drink. AC Magic Auto, however, are done with, but it's still the cleanup here from Keegs and Ant to clean it all up. Nemesis once again sent back to the drawing board as Keegs is playing the absolute DPS Moira of your nightmares, getting rid of Quincy with the help of their Reddit Lucio teammates.
Yeah, both of these supports are putting in the damage and the heals here for Eternal. But you're looking at Nemesis, right? Maybe this is your shot to shoot back up into this one. You have Coalescence, you have Beat Matrix, or maybe Aiden could go around the corner, charge up his Soldier ultimate. It's going to really depend on what they do here this next fight.
Nemesis looking for to use those support ults as best as they can here. Here comes the push coming in here from Eternal, though. They act first here with their Coalescence from Keegs. Warlord pushing in here on the circle, just trying to get rid of Pasty on the Winston, and is going to be able to do exactly that. Now Overclock comes in from adding games as well. Nemesis looking on the receiving end of a point here as Ant goes right off the edge. All that's left is Keys, who's stalling it out on the objective, but is going to get hit in the head by Starseeker as the point goes over to Nemesis with 86% taken by the Beat Drop Bears.
Nemesis back in the percentage pool. Warlord is coming up on their ultimate, but take a look at the Cassidy. The Cassidy's ready to go. Same with the Lucio ultimate. If they want to speed this Cassidy around a corner, that could be extremely dangerous for Eternal.
And already you see Eternal just trying to move in here. Pace is going to be able to use the Primal Rage here, trying to keep themselves alive, but all the ultimates coming out from either side. Ant's Ebola shot, unfortunately, is a whiff. Quincy does use the beat to try and keep themselves alive, but it's dropping extremely low. Pacey, however, is now removed. Ant having to throw their mouth all over their desk, trying to find any sort of value, but it's not going to be able to finish off the kill. Magic Thunder will be able to get Starseeker here, but it looks like at the end of the day, Nemesis will be able to keep this point under their control.
Well, look at Nemesis. I mean, it's a 4v5 scenario. You don't have your Cassidy. It's going to be a little difficult to get the Cassidy back. But look at that aggression here from the Winston.
AC just immediately going in for that dive. Lindsay, however, is able to escape. Now they go straight into the bulk of the enemy team. But here comes that Rampage coming out from Warlord, and it finds onto Pasty, and the beat from Bluehin. Not there in time to keep the Winston alive. Warlord now trying to finish up the skills, but adding Gauge is now removed. Most of your damage off the table. Starseeker is back in the fight, but has to keep themselves alive. But that's helpful enough when they're able to find that headshot onto Key. Now it's only Bluehin here for the side of Eternal Beat Drop Bears. And Starseeker tries to use that piercing shot on Cassidy to get this sort of kill. Trying to look for anything here, but so far Nemesis continue to hold. It looks like with that Coalescence, Beat Drop Bears are waiting for another day.
All right, so Coalescence is out here for Nemesis. They still have the Cassidy ultimate ready to go, but more aggression here from the side of the Winston.
Yeah, but already getting a lot of value for it. Magic Otter comes in on the side angle as well. And it's going to be a pause coming in here. Looks like it might have been a DC on the side of Nemesis there. But I mean, that was a lot of value coming out there from the side of the Eternal Beat Drop Bears. If I were Nemesis after this pause, Nyah, I would just jump off the map or try to finish it out as quickly as possible so that you can get that last fight, because you still have a chance of getting that last touch.
Yeah, exactly right. And the Winston is very, a little bit of annoying for them. They want to try and get that pickup on the tank, but every time it seems to be the Winston goes in, it takes a lot of your team out if you're Nemesis. So you really want to try and control that factor and communicate with the team about that Winston player. So hopefully they can find a fixture up on that, and maybe after this match pause, they'll have a little bit of a thinking cap sparked up in their head. But we don't know here yet. It's only the first map. Stuff could go a long way up in SPCS. I know that I've saw it plenty of times here. But yeah, Nemesis, this is a great time to rethink your plans.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so far from what we've seen on Nemesis, especially on this point where Pasty was running that Winston, it's been a little bit better. They definitely have been able to make a little bit more work overall with this Junker Queen composition, which is good. You obviously want to try to keep improving on this comp as you go in, but it'll be interesting to see if they're able to get that recontest, because it took them a while to actually get on the point and start to make some progress here if you are Nemesis. So we'll have to see if they're able to get that point back, because again, once they touch that point again, they're going to have to be in an overtime. They're not going to be able to hold this point once they get back from this DC, so it's all going to matter on what they're going to be able to do. They still do have that Deadeye from Starseeker online, which is basically what is going to be their win condition here. As we head back into the map here, Lullaby was the one who DC. The good news is they already lost their ultimate. Warlord will get that kill onto Pasty, but again, it's going to stall themselves out. Going to be up to 96%, it looks like, here for Nemesis. 95, but still, one last touch is going to be coming in here from Nemesis before the round's over.
Nemesis with the Glincy will need the touch here. They will have the Beatrix ready to go, but look at the Coalescence Mafia for the kill.
Already a very early Coalescence coming out here from Keegs, and meanwhile, adding game is done with, but Ant is traded here. Starseeker able to get that early pickoff here onto the Freya, but now is facing so much pressure from Keegs. Once again, going full DPS Moira, but now it's a trade. Now Keegs is your only support if you're the side of Eternal Beat Drop Bear, so they need to try to be conservative with this. Blitzy dropping extremely low. Pacey pops the Primal Rage after they're able to get that kill and jumps right onto Lullaby's head. Now it's Warlord trying to stay alive. All that pressure coming out here with Angry Monkey just swinging in their face. Adding Gaze back on the Tracer. Is able to get the touch, but it's dropping extremely low, and it's once again Pasty. 4 kills in the span of that fight to finish it out, and Eternal Beat Drop Bears were able to win the first map of the series.
Pasty is absolutely cooking in the jungle right now. I mean, XQC might be proud. But hey, Eternal Beach Drop Bears, that was a phenomenal performance from you. Nemesis, though, still putting up a great fight up on that secondary. I do feel like now heading up into the second map, you're going to be able to rethink your plan. There's a lot of potential in between the two.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of potential coming out here from Nemesis, whatever they want to try to run. Obviously, we saw them really gravitate toward that Junker Queen comp when they started on that map, and it seemed like that's what they wanted to work with here. But the big thing is, do they have other compositions up their sleeve? Reminder, this is a team where 3 members have been together since the beginning of the Spawn Point Championship Series, back in Series number 1. So this is a team that probably is well synergized. It's just bringing those extra pieces that they're trying to get used to here. But that's a support and a DPS player that seem to be pretty flexible. We saw Starseeker do a pretty good Cassidy. It'll be interesting to see if there are any other DPS that they have up their alley here. But it's going to come down again to that map pick and the mode pick. Of course, the rule is that the loser of the last map gets to pick the next mode and map. So they have a choice of Flashpoint, Hybrid, Escort, or Push here for our next map here. So it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to go for here for the mode, and also what map they want to try to go for.
Yeah, looking at the team composition that Nemesis was playing, they were trying to force a JQ comp, right? So I think it's going to be more likely that we'll be heading to a push mode, somewhere around that, maybe even flash. Because if they want to force the JQ comp, and if they want to use that rush, I think that will be a win con for them. But you have these hero bans that are up in place. If Eternal Beat wants to ban the JQ and phase them into playing a different tank, that could be a whole entire different story and routes for Nemesis to figure out.
Yeah, definitely. They could ban the JQ, but you also have to consider what Nemesis did ban on that first map. Remember, their ban was Kiriko. They wanted to play that Junker Queen composition, again, because Kiriko is one of the biggest counters to Junker Queen in the game. Again, because you can just Suzu the wounds. You can fade away from the Junker Queen if they try to rush onto you. Kiriko can make a Junker Queen's life a living nightmare. So the question is, now that you cannot ban Kiriko for the rest of this series, do you still want to try to commit to this Junker Queen composition? Or do you want to try to go to something that may be still in your back pocket? Let's say you have a dive composition. Do you go for the dive composition? Do you go for a brawl composition? Do you go for a poke composition? Anything is on the table here for Nemesis. It'll be interesting to see if they still just try to stick with the Junker Queen, but I think it's less likely that they'll stick with the Junker Queen and rather try something else new. So we'll have to see what they decide to go for here for mode and map.
I think if you're Nemesis here, you want to play something that's going to fit your, comfortness with your standings, right? You want to play a hero that you are great with, a hero that you could rotate with. So, Prod, if you can, I'm not sure if you can or not, but is it possible that we could get the map pull up again here? Because I just want to overlook the maps here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have all these maps, right? I mean, they could do like a TP strat. I didn't think of that, but I think they could do that.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of maps that they could choose, but they decided that they have selected the mode and the map. We are going over to Escort and Circuit Royale for map number 2 here. Nemesis have picked that as the second map in this series. And immediately out of the gate, Nyah, this tells me that the Junker Queen strat is in the garbage right now, and they're going to pull something else. Because Junker Queen, not famous for being, not well known for working on Circuit Royale.
Honestly, I don't know if anyone's done it, but maybe in a regular competitive game. But yeah, I mean, if you're Nemesis here, you want to be playing maybe towards the meta here up in Circuit Royale. I think that's more of the standard when you enter Circuit. But there's a lot of you can play Widowmaker, you can play Hanzo, a lot of sight lines that goes in the Circuit. So it's going to be something to really think for Nemesis, but I think Poke is the strategy here for them to have a little up on Nemesis. Or, well, no, Beach Drop Bears.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it seems like Poke might be this play. Also, I go back to that map on Lijiang Tower. We saw, sorry, I just gotta remember the name here. Adden Games, mostly running the Sojourn. And we also saw Starseeker. They started off on that Tracer, but they looked really good on the Cassidy. They were clicking a lot of heads on the Cowboy. Who's to say they can't click heads on the Widowmaker? So I feel like that might be the good strategy that Nemesis are trying to think about here. but they also need to think about the bans. If I'm correct in saying that Beat Drop Bears will get the first ban here because Nemesis did pick the map. So we'll have to see what Beat Drop Bears are thinking about here for the bans. It is worth noting, the same team cannot ban the same hero twice in a series, which means that Eternal Beat Drop Bears for the rest of the series cannot ban Orisa.
Yeah, and if you are... Oh, wait, hold on, wait. This is actually something new that I haven't seen before, but... Well, I have in like a different league, but we're here up in SPCS, and support tank DPS, if you are both of these two teams, I would be maybe focusing more up on the supports here, because that's where a lot of pressure goes into the communication department, right? If you take out if you take out a certain support that is really important in one of those team comps that you want to play in Circuit Royale, it could really switch the fixture of the whole entire map around. But even taking a tank out, right? If they want to force maybe not the poke and play a little more brawl, they could do that too, or they could run dive. There's a lot of possibilities and stages that two of these two teams could do here.
And there's also the possibility that one of the big things that you can do is you can do something called protecting a ban. See, like, for example here, if that was the case, Eternal Beat Drop Bears ban Ramatra here. First off, interesting considering they were playing Ramatra at the start of Lijiang Tower. But second thing, banning Tank so that Nemesis can't ban Tank. So if Eternal Beat Drop Bears had a specific tank that they wanted to play, they ban Tank so that the enemy team does not ban Tank and therefore ban their tank that would want to run. So that's definitely some part of the strategy here. The cool thing about hero bans, you can play so many different strategies here. But for now, the only strategy is Eternal Beat Drop Bears have banned Ramatra. Nemesis cannot ban a tank here.
And going on like the thing about saying, you know, protective bans, if you pick something that really isn't good, like let's say if a team were to like ban Mercy, I think that's actually pretty good because in a late game, you could ban something really important that the other team has. But I think that's going to be something that we'll be seeing later in the season here of SPCS. Teams will get to see what is happening up on the live broadcasts, but as well VODs overall. So there's a lot to see. But taking a look at the bans, it seems to be Hanzo and Ramatra is picked. So taking out a Sightliner and as well a Brawl tank. So pretty interesting, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. The Hanzo ban speaks to me here for Nemesis, because that tells me that they probably want to run this Widow, because Hanzo is kind of a secret counter to Widowmaker if you have a very good Hanzo on the enemy team, because Hanzo able to duck behind corners when the Widow can't see them and hit those arrows because it is a projectile. So we'll have to see what the move is going to be here from Nemesis. I don't hate this Hanzo ban. I think it's a very good ban, because again, Circuit Royale is historically a sniper-driven map. Hanzo is one of the now 3 snipers in the game. So we'll have to see what the move is going to be here from both of these teams as we load into our second map of the series. Circuit Royale, again, picked by Nemesis, the losers of map number 1.
We're heading to Monaco. Monaco Circuit for anyone F1 fans out there.
I mean, I'm a NASCAR fan, but I totally get I understand the Monaco Circuit, so I know what it's like.
Yeah. A lot of competition going on over there whenever they have a couple races. But yeah, Circuit Royale, as we said, this is the secondary map of this map set. And looking at Nemesis after map 1, they need to neutral the score here, 1-1, to kind of have a shot of staying in the series.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's going to be difficult. Nemesis historically, and I'm looking at their matches here from their past seasons, because Nemesis is a frequent team. They have historically either gone 3-1 or 1-3. They have never gone to they have never come back from a 2-map deficit here. So we'll have to see. They've never even gone. They've never come back from a 2-map deficit in the entirety of their SPCS career. That is across Series 1 and Series 2. So we'll see if Nemesis is going to be able to do that here as we take a look at the starting compositions here. Eternal Beat Drop Bears are going to be on the defense here, Nemesis on the attack, and we already see Pasty going over to this Sigma here, which kind of makes sense for the Ram ban because you don't want a Ramatra running on top of your tank.
I see Mercy.
We do see Mercy
is that meta?
On both sides.
Meta question mark? I don't know. Yeah, what do we think about this, Bowsy? Because you think of Eternal, you're up a point here. If you want to run something interesting in Nemesis just to confuse them, you can. But if you're Eternal here, you could basically just upset them maybe. Oh, would have been a little nasty.
Would have been indeed. Magic Otter unfortunately misses that crucial shot here, but we'll have to see what the strategy is going to be here from these teams. Nemesis right now deciding to go for the Ash Sojourn, so not as many snipers as I thought they were going to be running, and they also had a Wuyong player. Pasty gets them immediately out of the fight, but Pasty sacrificed their life for it. Meanwhile, however, Magic Otter shooting from across the map. Both DPS get a haircut for free on the first stretch here of Circuit Royale. And it's going to get res here as well here. So the Eternal Beat Drop Bears are going to be able to hold here for a tiny bit. But Warlord's on that cart, and that means the cart's going to continue moving.
Dude, I saw Mercy dodging and weaving for the side of Nemesis. But here we go, right? If you are Magic Otter, you're going to be able to set yourself up maybe in a different position here. You kind of don't want to play that low down because you're going to have all that pressure from Nemesis and the even supports, right? They can press that. So let's see what happens. Rock out.
One of the big things as well is all the pressure coming in here from Beat Drop Bears, all the damage into the shield here from Warlord. He's basically not having that shield at all throughout the entirety of this. Meanwhile, Nemesis starting to make some ground here, starting to pump in the damage into Pasty, who's also feeling the front force of that shield, not getting as much, absorbing all that damage. But once again, it's Magic Otter finding the first pick here. Starseeker once again out of the fight. Does Lullaby go for the res? Yes, they do. Trying to equalize the score here as now Magic Otter looks for the kill into adding games. But meanwhile, it's still just a back and forth affair. Starseeker is immediately eyeing that Mercy of Blue Hen, and once again, they get their head chopped off. So does adding games as Magic Otter is an absolute barber in masterclass here on Circuit Royale. Make it 3, finding the head of Glitzy in the middle of nowhere.
Sign the man. I mean, Magic Otter is the work. Same with Ant here up on the side of Eternal. This is phenomenal stuff here from just a first match to see here up on the broadcast side. I mean, as casters, that's crazy. I mean, how much headshots are we going to be able to see from this?
Magic Otter already trying to put up more, misses that shot into Starseeker, but has the Emperor to know where Glincy is trying to find that early shot here onto that Wuyong to force out that res from Lullaby, but looks like the Emperor gonna be running out here as Nemesis trying to make their advance here. Now Magic Otter looks for that shot, doesn't hit it yet. Now Warlord is on the high ground. You have to be careful about this if you are Nemesis, but that barrier once again dropping extremely low. He does have the perk, however, now where you can regenerate your health for every time you hit and hit damage with your orb. So that is a big deal here for Nemesis. Each of us going to use that amplification matrix, and Warlord and everyone else are going back to spawn.
That's a little unlucky for Nemesis. They were setting themselves up to be good, I would say, until Eternal kind of did something to them there. So, yeah, this is pretty interesting. You have Eternal in a really good spot here. You take a lot of time off of the Nemesis bank. If you're Nemesis here, though, you still have a lot of ultimates coming back, right? You could pop a lot of things to have that win con back in your favor.
See what Nemesis' plan is going to be, especially with these 3 massive ultimates, almost 5 on the board here with Starseeker's Bob and Lullaby and Valkyrie coming online pretty soon. It's going to be up against this Flux from Pasty and this Bola shot from Ant, but now it's going to be Warlord using their Flux first. It gets canceled by Pasty with an accretion, and now it's a 3-man Flux coming out here from Pasty onto every other member of Nemesis. Adding games on the flank angle, trying to get anything done with their overclock, but it's unable to finish the job as Starseeker now taken out of the fight. Now all of the ultimates used here by Nemesis. Starseeker's ult is the only one left, but they are out of the fight, and so is Warlord. It is going to be Eternal Beat Drop Bears giving up some ground here. Warlord gets rezzed up here by Lullaby here as the sights come out here from Magic Otter. Looking for that crucial headshot that can change the game. They probably don't even need that. Adding games down the fight immediately here. No. And so is Quincy. Another perfect headshot from Magic Otter. They continually turn the fight. Warlord now facing up the value of a Pasty in a wrecking ball in their face. Lullaby gets run over inside of the building, and it's a complete full hold from Eternal Beat Drop Bears on Circuit Royale.
Bowsy, this is crazy stuff that we just got to witness here up on Circuit Royale. I mean, Eternal setting themselves up real good here now. They only got to push a tad bit, but Nemesis, this is going to be a extremely hard hold for you after what we got to just see. I mean, Magic Otter hitting headshots, Ant colliding the, arrows in between. Both were putting in a lot of work. And talking about the two teams like how we did before even entering the match, those are the key players that have been finding the potential here in Circuit Royale. They've been putting up a lot of work. So phenomenal stuff here from Eternal V Drop Bears. But hey, if you're Nemesis, it's not over yet. This is your time to shine.
You can just obey.
Yep, as we already see Nemesis starting out their composition here. Looks like they want to stick with this poke style with the Ash Sojourn, except Kiriko and Lucio for the support line here, Nyah, which tells me that they want to try to play fast, they want to try to play aggressive, but with double hit scan and a Sigma. Doesn't seem like this is adding up.
Well, I will say, I do like the support backline here to get the cleanse going, get the TP around the map, but as well, you're going to have that speed, which isn't always there for the Lucio. I think that is going to be something that they're going to overuse a little too much into the immortality that Keys is going to provide here for Eternal. So let's just see what happens here.
Immediately looking for this aggressive angle here on the staircase, trying to look for any sort of hedge. Does make their presence known, almost finishes off Lullaby, but the headshot was not completely charged, so they're unable to finish the job. Now Starseeker on this ass, trying to burn down the enemy team. All the damage going into Eternal Beat Drop Bears, who are trying to make their way forward here in this push. Again, you see Nemesis just seeming to continually hold them at bay. Magic Otter looking for these headshots, but so far has not been able to replicate that magic that we saw them do on the defense.
For a team that got stopped by Eternal, this is good work here from Nemesis. They're trying to shut down that forward engage line here from Eternal. So let's see if they could do that a little more, but they need to be aware of Magic Otter, especially up on the side.
Magic Otter just keeps taking the same angle as well, which makes it pretty easy to predict here for the side of Nemesis. So far they're doing a pretty good job of keeping themselves alive. However, now Warlord is facing the brute force of all of his damage. The Immortality Field is burnt early here from Keith on Swag, which means that crucial ability is now out of the picture starting here. Nemesis just need to make an opportunity here. They need to try to burn down anybody here on the side of Eternal Beat Drop Bears, but they're the ones who are going to be burning first. Starseeker dead here to the side of Magic Otter with all the arrows coming in here from Ant, and that bowler shot also forcing out so much here. Nemesis, however, going to answer back. They're going to use the Kitsune Rush, but adding games now have their head chopped off here by, once again, Magic Otter on the Widowmaker. They forced out the puck here from Pacey, who does get canceled with the accretion, but all the damage has been done. Nemesis falling one by one, and Warlord investing the flux when they're very low on health. I don't know about that one, Chief.
Oh, yikes. All right, so here we go. Nemesis is now going to have to reset here into Eternal's dominance line of sight from Magic Otter. I mean, if they peek a corner at this last corner, it's going to be very, very bad, because they're going to be down a player. So let's see what happens here. Good use of shield there from Warlord.
It's going to work. It's going to be the amplification matrix from Keys and Glincy using their beat. Warlord able to finally best the Otter of Magic Otter by sending a rock straight to their face. And Nemesis, with the help of just that one beat drop from Glincy, are going to be able to hold this cart for now as they try to chase down Eternal Beat Drop Bears back to the spawn door. They want these late kills.
Yeah, this is really good here if you are Nemesis. You're pushing Eternal back here towards the spawn. And yeah, I will say, Nemesis still setting up good. But as I said, Magic Otter, once again, up on the spawn.
Starseeker just keeps gunning to the stars. Magic Otter still cleaning heads and taking names here on Circuit Royale. 2 kills for Magic Otter to open it up here. But the good news is that was the Lucio and the Ash. The bad news is that adding game after using their overclock is wiped off the face of the earth. Warlord is also dead. Lullaby trying to come back, but is going to get killed out here. The bot is going to buy some time here for the side of Nemesis, but only a little bit of time as they get burned down here with all of the damage as Eternal Beat Drop Bears continue the hold here and able to push the cart into the yellow box of victory and go up to match point here in the series against Nemesis.
Wow, I mean, I really did thought that Nemesis was going to do something to Eternal there, heading into when Magic Otter didn't get the shot, but I mean, what a phenomenal performance from Magic. We got to see so much headshots in between this Circuit Royale, and this was just so crazy to see from a Widowmaker player. Do we call this man a rookie? I mean, he might be advanced, he might be experienced, but same to Ant, right? Ant was up in the kill feed, Keegs was there, popping off on the Baptiste, there was so much good things about Eternal there in the last couple fights to capture that point to win and have themselves a 2-0 over Nemesis. Now, we still have a map after this, right? We're going to be heading to a break here shortly, but what do we say about Nemesis going into the break?
It's definitely going to be difficult for Nemesis here because, again, as I mentioned, in the entirety of their time here in the Spawn Point Championship Series, they have never come back from a 2-map deficit. That being said, they still have time to rekindle. They still have time to talk it over here, and they can make an impact here in the second half of the series. It's a brand new season. It all comes down to if they can make the comeback when it matters the most. We'll be right back after a quick break, but don't go anywhere. More Spawn Point Championship Series Rookie Division coming up after this. Welcome back, everybody, to more Spawn Point Championship Series Rookie Division for Series number 3. Bowsy, once again joined here by Nyah on the cast. As so far in this series, it has been all Eternal beat Drop Bears here, Nyah. But Nemesis have an opportunity here to reverse sweep this series and try to take it for their own at the start of the season.
Yeah, as you said, Nemesis has been in these spots before where they could possibly take a map or head maybe towards the map 5 here, Balzi, but it's going to be a uphill battle for the Nemesis. Eternal Beat Drop Bears, though, sitting in a very good position against the Nemesis. We've got to seen a nasty Widowmaker gameplay, and same with Freya gameplay, too. I mean, Eternal's been beat dropping on the Nemesis.
Yeah, definitely. It has been a very good performance here from Beat Drop Bears, but Nemesis have brought it close, especially on the latter half of these points. So maybe it's just a matter of getting that momentum swinging in their favor. So we'll have to see if they're going to be able to bring it back here on map number 3, which has been selected here by Nemesis. And guess what, Nyah? We're going to the theme park. Blizzard World will be the third map of the series here. So they're going for the hybrid style, and they're going for another map with another type of gameplay style. First, it's a brawl map, which was Lijiang Tower of a starting map. Then they go to a poke map for Circuit Royale, and now they're going to Blizzard World, which is an all-hands-off sort of map where anything can work.
Yeah, Blizzard World, there is so much team compositions that you could play here. Dive, poke, brawl, rush. It really just depends upon what the teams will be playing. I know that we got to see a JQ played up on the first map. If they want to go with a Symmetra TP, maybe up to the top, or a TP around the map to go up the stairs, they could do that. There's many possibilities here. Taking a look at the bans here. If we are both of the two teams, is it smart to take out something costly like a DPS?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what these two teams decide to ban here. Obviously, again, it's a different map, a different sort of style here, so anything could really go here. But the question is, do Eternal Beat Drop Bears go 3 for 3 on tank bans this series, Nyah? Because so far, they have basically been the team to just ban the tanks. They banned Orisa, then they banned Ramatra. Do they go for a third tank, or do they try to go for a DPS or support to try and limit the capabilities of Nemesis?
Well, honestly, if they wanted to, they could go for a third tank here. Maybe they could ban the Winston, force a more like a rushy type comp, or maybe have both teams playing Ryan or Sig or Zarya. Diva's also optional. We get to see a lot of good Diva bomb plays here, but supports-wise, maybe you could take out like a Lucio, for example, to get rid of the speed. Maybe force them up onto like a Break Ana, something that they're really not used to playing, or taking out the BAP for poke. There's so much options that the teams can play here ban, but Eternal Beat Drop Bears, as we are getting to see here, Bowsy, they are going to be banning the Diva. So I would probably say this is a pretty good choice. You're taking out a dive hero that you're not going to have to worry about if you are a support.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's another tank that Beat Drop Bears have decided to ban here, and that is a dive tank. Diva has seen a little bit of a resurgence, has been seen as a pretty good tank in lower ranks or in organized play if you can perform it very well enough. Also, just recently got that new perk that makes her a sniper, so Diva can definitely be a good ban. I mean, I say like a sniper, but it's just you reduce the radius of reduce the spread of your primary fire. But nonetheless, Nemesis have decided to ban Freya, and I think this is probably the best ban they could have gone with, considering how many times they've struggled up against Freya's this series, Nyah.
Yeah, I mean, Freya's a great ban here for the Nemesis, but they still gotta worry. Widowmaker could be a probable cause here for the Nemesis. We got to see so much Widowmaker gameplay off the Circuit Royale map, and that's still optional here for Eternal to play. We could definitely see that up in their pocket here, maybe up on the DPS sign, but Cassidy's still an option. You could still play Sojourn. You could even have Nyah for the walls. There's so much options to pick for the DPS, but both bands coming out, Diva, Freya. What else can we talk about these two bands, right?
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, again, you mentioned that Cassidy. Some of the best performance we've seen coming out from Nemesis has been when Starseeker has been able to play that Cassidy. Starseeker on Cassidy on Lijiang Tower showed very strong ability to be able to hit heads and be able to finish off kills. It'll be interesting to see if Starseeker can live up to that potential here on map number 3. We did see them on Ash in map number 2, but it didn't really seem like they were making that much of an impact. So we'll have to see what the move is going to be here from Nemesis. Eternal Beat Drop Bears, though, I think so far they've shown that they know how to run almost any composition. So it'll be interesting to see if they can keep themselves in the high seat here. As we head over to Blizzard World, it is match point for the Beat Drop Bears. One more map, and they start their season 1-0.
They are going to clash multiple ways here in Blizzard World. I see this one being very hectic, going maybe a long way for both the sides. But if you are Nemesis, this is your time to shine. You want to make yourself heard here. And to get back up in this series, you need a point. So can Nemesis do it? We will be seeing here very, very shortly. The Drop Bears, though, they have so much potential up on the line. The momentum is in their hands, but that momentum could definitely shift.
We'll have to see how the momentum plays into favor here, but it is worth noting, I've mentioned before how Beat Drop Bears have members from previous SPCS teams, most notably the Series 1 champions for the rookie division, the Pew Pew Plunderers. Looking at the record books, it's a long time ago, but remember, Nemesis, made up of a group of players from that first team in Series 1. It was a 3-0 win for Pew Pew Plunders back in that season. So anything could happen, but the record has shown that Nemesis seems to struggle a little bit up against some of these players. But right now, as we get a look at these compositions, Nyah, we see Eternal Beat Drop Bears on the Winston. Nemesis currently showing the Ramatra in the spawn doors.
Dive v Brawl compositions coming out from both these sides, but I like how they're taking angles, right? You have the Ash up top here for Eternal, but Nemesis, you might be side flanking with Star up on the Tracer. So let's see what Star could do, especially to pressure the...
As Magic Otter throws in that Dynamite, immediately gets some damage onto adding games with that. Meanwhile, Starseeker trying to run through the main here. Magic Otter hits the headshot onto the soldier, but unfortunately, unlike Widow, you can't get an instant kill here with an Ash headshot, so you're gonna have to settle for a lot of damage to start off. But Warlord throwing that Vortex field in the opposite direction as they make their way to the objective, and adding games is in a world of hurt. Anti-nade and a monkey jumping right on top of you is gonna hurt. The first hit is given up here from the Eternal Beat Drop Bears. Nemesis is able to take that, but that's all they're going to be able to take here as they're cleaned up swiftly and cleaning up the field here on this Genji.
Ant's able to slice and dice, as we just got to see, and now, if you are Nemesis, you take a tad bit of a swap and a pause, but we do get to see the Reaper coming out here for Nemesis, so can we see Nemesis pulling a upset here into Eternal? Yes, no, maybe? Chat, I need your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely on the cards here. Again, taking that first tick is a big deal because now you've completely negated the effects of a draw or an immediate first point loss because you still can hold out that point as best as you can. The Reaper swap is interesting now because now you have removed your main way of accessing the Ana and the Brig that are on the side of the Eternal Beat Drop Bears. Now you are fully focused on staying as a brawl composition and staying together here if you are the side of Nemesis, which makes sense. The enemy team is running a Winston. I always like to say the phrase "monkey see, Reaper do" because Reaper is such an easy monkey counter that can immediately shred down a Winston at any given site. But the question is it going to work here? Because again, you still have to worry about the supports on the high ground. You could have your Soldier 76 go up there and deal with them, or you could try to make something else work in the composition. Say your Lucio goes up and goes for a Reddit Lucio play, or you try to switch up the tank composition. Either way, it's an interesting sort of swap to go from the Tracer to the Reaper. It also kind of felt like when it came to that Tracer play from Starseeker on that first push, we saw them go with the rest of their team. They didn't seem to go onto an off angle. They were in the sort of like restaurant building or the lost and found area at the start. but then their entire team went right and they followed them. So maybe it was a little bit of miscommunication, but I feel like Starseeker should be willing to go more on these flanks if they're going to be trying to play that Tracer. Maybe they're not comfortable on the flank. For all we know, this is the first match that we're seeing this team. Anything could be a possibility here, but we'll have to see if this Reaper pick is going to be the one for Nemesis, if they decide to stick on it, or if they're going to go back to the Tracer and try to work on the dive again.
Yeah, let's see what the Reaper pick can do. I know that that's a really good counter towards the Winston, right? But as we were talking about Star playing that Tracer, I do think the plan with Star is to highly aggress that hit scan or that poke hero. And as we get to go back up into the action here, Bowsy, we have Eternal still sitting up on the high grounds, but Nemesis playing that Reaper how we were talking about.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be Starseeker actually teleporting up to the high ground here while Nemesis go into the room here. That's actually not a bad strategy. I don't hate that. You distract the team with the Reaper, so now Nemesis get a free ticket to the high ground here. But now the question is, how does the team respond with this? Do you teleport the Reaper onto the Brigida's position, or do you wrap around with the entirety of the team? I have to see Nemesis right now make their way over to the back. Looks like they're actually going to be taking the back angle. They're going to go straight for the high ground here to try and take this position away from Magic Otter and from Bluehin. Magic Otter going to be last to leave the top as it's going to be the supports rotating over. So Magic Otter caught out. Adding Games finds that crucial first pick here, and what a good first pick it is here for the side of Nemesis. Now Beat Drop Bears have the support set up on the opposite high ground, and it's not enough time to get Pasty back into the fight as he's burnt down by adding Games. Nemesis now a pretty good start here to this objective, and they're going to be able to get rid of Ant, which means that this first point is going to be theirs.
Yeah, maybe this is their chance to shoot back here, Balzi. And as we do get to see, I mean, they are now controlling the playing field. Nemesis, I do like the pick here of Reaper. I do think that's going to be extremely dangerous for that Winston. But it's going to be something to kind of be cautious about. You still have Magic Otter, you know, picking people and the bulb is still up in sight here for Eternal, but a lot of other ultimates too.
Yeah, the Bob, the Blade, everything coming up here from Eternal Beat Drop Bears. Nemesis just have to be cautious about that. Magic Otter going for a little bit of a risky ass play. They obviously want to try to find these kills quickly, but now Paige is going to be diving in and coming in and to help out with the assist, and Glincy is going to be the first to fall. Now you're Lucio out of the equation here. It's going to be Nemesis just holding back, it seems. They're going to want to try to go for this card, it seems, but for now, they're going to wait for their Lucio to come back and then re-engage.
Yep, so let's see what happens here. Nemesis still ready to go. Blade out here from Ant.
They're forced out to beat here from Glincy. The tactical visor also used here from Ad and able to get the kill onto Ant to start off the fight here. So this is a good start here for Nemesis, but Adden has to stay alive. You need to keep your soldier up as he is basically the main pressure here, going on those flankers and able to find those easy picks here. But now the Bob comes out here from Eternal Beat Drop Bears, and Starseeker stuck in a rough spot. Gonna get burnt down there by the Bob. But you already see Nemesis just taking these angles. Adding Games and Warlord are inside of the arcade. Well, Warlord was inside of the arcade. Now they're back at the spawn door. It's going to be Nemesis resetting here with 2 picks coming up here from Magic Otter. Might be 3 if they're able to clean up the remains of his team. Nope, it's just going to be 2.
Magic Otter putting in the work once again. We know what Magic Otter could do. We got to see it from Circuit Royale. But a lot of placement for this Ashe player. Very well done for Magic, but Primal Rage from the Winston player on the side of Eternal. That could be used against the Force Kitsune. That could be something.
We'll see how it's going to go out here for Beat Drop Bears. And Pacey jumps in. Glincy's already removed from the fight. Magic Otter continuing to take heads and take names. Ant's going to be able to clean up the rest of the field here as the Primal Rage is forced out here from Pacey with no ultimates coming out from the side of Nemesis, which is kind of a net win if you think about it, Nyah, because now Nemesis are up against 0 ultimates on the side of Beat Drop Bears.
Yeah, something that I'm seeing though is that Beat Drop Bears are playing a little more quicker into the Nemesis side, which might force out a couple ultimates here heading up into this next engage. Can they make that happen? It's a high possibility, especially with the placement here on Magic Otter.
Yeah, just a perfect pick there for Magic Otter. Wrong place, wrong time for adding games, and Nemesis once again forced to reset this fight. Warlord now the only one left here in the arcade, and another pause coming in here for one of these two sides. I would assume it's probably coming in here from the side of Nemesis, but It
Yeah.
seemed good. They got that first point, but it seems like it's starting to fall apart here as we continue on, Nyah.
So Nemesis were looking pretty good at the start, right? They had 4 minutes. Can they come back though? I think there's a high probability chance. They still have a couple ultimates. They could still find a way to solve around the positioning that the Ashe has been pulling through. The Winston, I know, has been diving in, but if you could beat that high aggression playstyle from the Beat Drop Bears, I do see Nemesis getting back up into this one. They just got to play a little more quicker.
Yeah, it does seem like Nemesis right now are taking a little bit to set up, and probably the clearest case there is when they were setting up for that last engage, Adam Game steps out. That's it. That was the end of Adam Games' life. They stepped out of the room. They went behind that little turnstile. Magic Otter and Pasty had clear control of Adam Games' life the second they stepped out of that room. So it feels like they need to set up these fights a little bit quicker because right now they're burning the time just waiting to set up these kills. And the more seconds it takes them to set up the opportunity, the more time that Beat Drop Bears have to engage first. So it's going to be a matter of just trying to set up these sort of plays quick. We'll have to see if they're going to be able to do that here heading into these next into this next minute and 22 seconds as it's just Warlord currently trying to find anything in the arcade, but just going to get staggered out trying to find anything here. Oh no, they're going to stagger him out badly. That's going to push you down to 1 minute here for Nemesis.
Yeah, but looking at Nemesis now, you have Aiden playing the Sim, which I do think that's another great counter towards the Winston, right? You could force out a lot of high energy using that Symmetra, but as well, they could go around TPing, have a little more of an upper advantage. But let's see what happens here. You still have the Reaper Blossom, you have the Atrix coming up, and you have this Annihilation. Nemesis has stuff to work with.
Oh, but it's going to be so hard to push in with an Anti-Day coming out here from King Funk's flag, the Nano Boost as well. It is an absolute mess coming out here from the side of Beat Drop Bears. Anti-Day, Dynamite, Kitchen Sink, all on top of the Teleporter. The Teleporter can work. You can negate the effects of the Winston, but you got to be prepared for an Anti-Day and a Dynamite in your face.
Maybe that is the Dynamite to our face, the pause again. Oh, yeah. Let's see. How much time was up on the clock?
I believe 30 seconds. It just hit 30 seconds, so it's somewhere between 20 and 30 seconds.
Okay.
So it's going to come down to last-minute desperation, and also they are going to have to touch the cart and stay on the cart.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is not good if you're a fan of Nemesis to start off here.
I will say, though, like, Nemesis has built their team roster with players that they have played throughout the whole entire, series here in SPCS. Maybe that's something that they're trying to figure out, the team synergy in between the team. Something has to be not working, right? We get to some scenarios in this game where they look good, but then Beat Drop Bears come in and play a really high aggression pace into them and just, plow them down. It's a little interesting to see what Nemesis could do, but still first match of the whole entire season. These two teams could definitely change. We could see a lot of swaps with the team compositions coming out in the next couple of weeks. But Nemesis, they still have this Annihilation. And Glincy, you still have this Beat Matrix. They have a little bit of hope. Oh, no.
Yeah, that hope is immediately eviscerated into pieces here with Magic Otter finding the first kill onto Glincy. Lullaby quick to follow here. They will still have the touch on the cart. Overtime is now triggered, but in order to stay alive to get the supports back, you're going to have to be using this Annihilation here if you're Warlord. They're going to be using the Annihilation, looking for anything here, but just stunned, slept, main tank experience. Quincy almost gets Ajax, gets launched up to the air, thanks in part to the Primal Rage, but the damage has all been done here. Nemesis will have to settle with 70 meters taken on the first point of Blizzard World.
I feel like Nemesis was never really looking at the Ashe, right? We got to see so much placement from Eternal using that high ground, having Magic Otter up there, getting the picks, but it didn't really look to be that Nemesis was looking that way as what the prod camera is looking at. they never looked at the high ground, and I think that was something that really punished them heading up into those upper fights.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if your Ashe is able to sit on that turret basically uncontested, it's going to make it easy for your team to win here. But the good news for Nemesis is that now they don't have that. They don't have to worry about that. They can be the ones sitting on that turret if they're able to deal with beat drop bears. The bad news is you still have to try and hold the beat drop bears here. So we'll have to see what the move is going to be here for the side of Nemesis. As right now, beat drop bears, they look like they want to try to continue on this sort of dive defense. I would ignore the DPS right now because my bet is that Magic God is just going to go for an opening shot before they switch over to a different DPS. But Basie's on that Winston, which tells me they want to try to play the dive.
Yeah, and we have Warlord playing the Doomfist. Maybe it's going to be something to aggress in that Winston whenever the Winston dives. But we have two of the teams playing sideline. We have defense playing that Sim. And now switching over to the Genji. So more of a tad bit divey composition here for Eternal. Nemesis, though, we're going to have some strengths maybe holding that height.
I'm kind of surprised, though, the Magic Daughter's sitting on this Widowmaker. Well, guess what? Not surprised anymore. Finds that first kill on the Starseeker, opening up the door here for the side of the beat drop bears. And already Warlord dropping extremely low, thanks in part to that anti-nade from Kingsman's flag. They are able to stay alive, though, with the help of the team in that small room. Ant's looking for the push in, gets a lot of damage bumped into them. 68 health of the name, but it's still going to try to dive in onto adding games. And now the damage all up there. Everyone on the high ground is just a dive here over the Eternal Beat Drop Bears. It's going to be Beat Drop Bears taking this objective pretty swiftly here.
So Nemesis falling apart here to Eternal. Eternal, though, you are set in a very great position here, Balzi. If you're them, I mean, you got 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Really go up any hazard. Magic Otter there.
My sight.
Good first pick here for Magic Otter. Has the Infrasight now as they see that Kiriko of Lullaby hiding behind the wall. Warlord switching over to the Hazard here, and Starseeker now going over to the Tracer. And Warlord's actually going to get a kill here onto Ants to start off, but once again, adding games is just not allowed to play the game like that. They have gotten hit every single time here by this Widowmaker. Glincy also gets their head chopped off here, as now it's going to be Warlord taking their residence here on the turret, trying to force Magic Otter off of it so that they can try to make a move here. Once again, it's just forced to retreat. There's so much damage coming out here for the side of Eternal Beat Drop Bears, and Nemesis just seems to have no answers to it right now.
No, I mean, the whole entire time I got to see a Winston, basically jump back and forth up on that, but look at this, being able to engage here up on the Magic.
Lullaby dead. Keysman's flag able to get that final kill here. Now Nemesis are only up to their Lucio, and now there's no supports left for Nemesis as Warlord just trying to stay alive, but all the pressure's coming in swing. Kingsman's flag pulling out the DPS Ana to try and finish out this match in style. Starseeker's there on the Tracer just trying to stall it out. Warlord on the Hazard right behind them, trying to keep themselves alive for now, but Nemesis still just fall one by one. And at the end of the day, the Eternal Beat Drop Bears are indeed eternal. They will take the victory 3-0 over Nemesis to start their Series 3 rookie campaign.
This is really great here for Eternal. Something to say about this team is that the three key players, I think Magic Otter is absolutely phenomenal. We got to see Ant there in the kill feed, Keys in the kill feed. I mean, so much playstyle in between those three. And having that team synergy, playing in between, different seasons, different series, it's really good things adding up to this and resolving. So Eternal Beat Drop Bears, you are victorious here, but MVP wise, what are we saying? I mean, we got to see so much playstyle with this team. There's so much to choose from, a lot of options.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of options. Everyone really did show their stuff here in this matchup, but I feel like there is only one MVP pick here, and it was the person who showed up on map number 2 and map number 3, the turret on Blizzard World, and the Barber on Circuit Royale. Magic Otter, I think, is the MVP here for this series because they just made this a Magic Otter highlight reel after map number 1. They were consistently cutting down the competition, finding those crucial picks, and basically going uncontested on that Blizzard World turret. Which, being uncontested is one thing, but you have to prove that you can be a valuable target when you're being uncontested like that. Magic Otter did all that and more. So Magic Otter, in my opinion, Magic Otter, I feel, is the MVP here for the side of the Eternal Beat Drop Bears. Showing their stuff here in the rookie class, showing that they can make an impact here for this team.
Yeah, Beat Drop Bears, wonderful stuff here with Magic Otter. Very well-deserved MVP. But going back, taking a look at the series score, Eternal Beat Drop Bears really, really showing in the work there. Circle Royale was a phenomenal map. We got to see so much playstyle, a lot of advantage in between with Eternal. But yeah, I mean, a strong 3-0 finish here to start up the season here for Eternal. But this is a great learning experience if you are Nemesis. You're going to be able to take this one to look back at the VOD and say, hey, they got to contest that, person that's up on the high ground or maybe up in the back that's really causing us some problems. But Nemesis, this is a time to learn about those mistakes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is hard to go up against a team like that. Also, it is worth noting that the first 2 maps looked pretty close there. Nemesis had some bright spots in those first 2 maps and also got that point on Blizzard World in a pretty good pace. So there's stuff to work here for Nemesis, but at the end of the day, it's not their day to win their first match yet. It's going to be Eternal Beat Drop Bears doing that. But that is going to do it here for our broadcast. But there are more matches this weekend. Make sure you tune in Wednesday and Thursday as we have our Intermediate Division and Advanced Division matches. Joey Esports are going to face off against Eternal Fury on Wednesday, and Reckless Gamma are going to face off against Eternal Rift on Thursday. Nyah, it's only the beginning of SPCS, and it's already showing to be an absolute treat.
Yep, SPCS series. We got another phenomenal match here coming up this week. Be sure to stay tuned to that. But I guess, Bowsy, do you have anyone to shout out, right? I know the production was really cooking. Shout out Person and Sariff doing in the work there up in the production team. But yeah, I just want to shout out my college community. Westminster. But yeah, do you have anyone to shout out?
I don't really, apart from our amazing production crews you mentioned, Person on the production and Sariff on the observing, doing an amazing job helping get you all of those shots and all of those amazing transitions, as well as everyone on the team at SPCS for helping orchestrate this tournament here, the third season of SPCS, starting off strong here with a bang. But that's going to do it for us here today. For my wonderful co-caster, Nyah, as well as our amazing producer, Person, and our observer, Sariff, my name has been Bowsy. Until we meet again, we hope you all have an amazing night, and we'll catch you later this week for more Spawn Point Championship Series action.
Thank you.